Peace, front true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds assemble to bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things and talk about rumors and stuff and talk about the times of yore. I am Cap, and joining me today is always best friend, fellow nerd, and tamer of the puss, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how fare ye? How are you doing?
As good as I ever am. Huh? Hope everybody else is doing good today. It's an early Sunday for us, but I know a lot of you guys watch us from the East Coast. So hello to what are they in the future? Or the
Good
past?
afternoon. Yes, they're in the future. It was funny when I flew out to Munich. It's a 9-hour difference, but it was a 12-hour flight. So only 3 hours had gone by. It was such a weird jet lag. It was just, hated it.
Yeah. I always found because I lived in England for a long time, but I would fly back to the States every 6 months. When I did that, I always found coming into the United States was easier than it was going back to England.
Because you get time back coming here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all down to like how you approach it, but it's like when I came here, I would stay up all the way until the night time, and then I'd fall asleep.
Right.
Whereas it kind of screws you up the other way, or did me anyway.
Yeah. I mean, with me, because you said it was traveler sickness. I'd never, my body was in kind of like a weird shock and didn't know what to do with itself. So I ended up staying up for like 3 days, just sort of doing like a hard reset on my body to get in the good swing of things. And it was fine. I had nowhere to be. It was fine.
That's good. Anyway, so let's see what's a lot of stuff happened this last week. I thought it would be funny. Even though I'm very much against a lot of aspects of AI. I thought I'd ask AI to create our news.
Okay.
And it was just so bad. I couldn't use it. I said like give me 10 interesting nerdy like things in pop culture that happened in the last couple of weeks. Because I do this before the show every time. And it's like the new trailer for James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 dropped. And I'm like,
wait, what?
It just kept pulling all this stuff from like the past. And I was just like,
nothing fresh and funky.
So then I was like, I tried to clarify it with the AI. I was like, it was like a chatbot. I was like, I asked for the past 3 weeks, or in past 2 weeks. And then, and it goes, okay, let me try again, and just same thing. I mean, I can pull it up at some point. But anyway, so the human cured news. I was like, oh, this will make my job so much easier.
Right?
But no,
we're not there yet, guys. A few more years.
AI scares me how fast it progressed. Like, ask it to draw you a picture now. I mean, other than like hands and some weird shit, it's absolutely gorgeous. It draws better than me.
Yeah, but it still can't be. Nothing will beat a human because humans can understand the nuance, and that computers will never understand human nuance. I've tried.
You know how dodgy the thing I don't agree with is how it rips everybody off.
Yeah,
because one of the images it gave me on the bottom corner, I could see like this messed up like website address that someone used to post their art,
right?
And and stuff like that. Like, if there should be, if you're gonna do that, it should require consent, and then or it should pay the artist, in my opinion. But anyway, on to news. So after the new piece, or the One Piece live action show, I think it's fair enough to say Cap and I like that, at least the live action. Apparently, a new One Piece anime, not the other anime, called The One Piece, is in works at Netflix from WIT Studio.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Is this live action or animated?
It's anime. It's a live action anime. I mean, not live action. It's an anime.
It's an anime.
It's a One Piece anime called The One Piece, and it's in works at Netflix.
I mean, where is this going to fall within the timeline? Because I don't want to watch something.
I think it's its own thing. That's what anime does. It's like you had. I know you don't watch a lot of anime, but like you had that. What was that show? Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
So then it came out with Full Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
Those are two separate shows.
Okay. So just expanding on the mythos. Yeah, sure. I mean,
sort of. It's like, you know how like they follow manga.
Yeah.
The original One Piece. I'm not One Piece. The original. Go back. Go sit down over there. Go do something. The original Full Metal Alchemist started veering away from the manga,
Mm.
so then they made Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which followed the manga,
Okay.
and stuff like that happens all the time. Shows get revived, they get retold.
Of
It's
course.
just anime.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah,
you know my thoughts on anime. Like,
I knew,
yeah.
but I
So,
mean, I know you enjoyed One Piece, the show. I don't think you enjoyed the anime.
would that compel me to watch a One Piece anime? If somebody were to ask, but I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to watch it. If it's just
It's
a
on
straight
Netflix,
anime.
or it will be on Netflix. I'll probably
Yeah.
check it out. I like the show
I
enough.
love how Netflix has sort of become like the dominion of like anime now. It's kind of cool.
Sort of. I mean, not really. I mean, I would say Crunchyroll.
I mean, Crunchyroll, but as far as like adaptations and whatnot, live action stuff, it sort of goes
Oh
to
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah. Which is
but
cool.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like, so my thoughts are, I like the show, the live action show. The anime I tried getting into, but it's just a little too silly.
Right.
If this new anime leans more towards the live action show, or maybe has its own style,
Right.
I would be interested. I think the story is really interesting. So, and I would like to absorb more of it.
Right.
Also, kind of in the anime. Well, it is anime, but I mean, we're talking about Miyazaki right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like elevated. You know what I mean?
Right.
But The Boy and the Heron has passed 100 mil. Excuse me.
Bless you again. And again.
Yeah, always three.
Always three.
Anyway, The Boy and the Heron has passed 100 mil worldwide. It's a Miyazaki film. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I'm not even familiar with this one. This was
really?
Went over my radar.
It's the newest Miyazaki film.
Yeah.
It's crushing it at the box office. Everybody's saying it's brilliant. I'll get into it later, but because I have a whole the Critical Choice Awards.
Right.
We'll touch on those later. But it has been nominated as one of the best animated films.
Okay.
I mean, do you like Miyazaki films?
I can watch them. I know Mrs. Cap is a fan of a couple of them. I know the Youngling is a fan of a few of them. They're okay.
I'm a big fan.
I mean, they're beautifully shot, or not shot. I mean, they're beautifully animated. Beautifully animated.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's because they don't like most anime uses tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're talking about when we're watching Young Justice.
Yeah.
He does not.
No.
I mean, everything is just
like
gorgeous.
every blade of grass is just.
Yeah. My favorite is Spirited Away.
So that's Mrs. Cap's favorite. We went to go see Spirited Away at a movie event a few years ago, and it was fun. It's fun. He's very good at that fantasy kind of just, I don't know, interesting stories.
My Neighbor Totoro, I also thought
Neighbor Totoro was fun.
And it's so interesting because My Neighbor Totoro is such a simple, slow-paced story, but it's just beautiful at the same time.
Yeah. I like the Neko cat. It terrified me when I first saw it, or the Neko bus, or the cat bus.
Oh yeah, the bus thing they get on.
Yeah, terrifying, nightmare fuel. Watched it a lot with the Youngling when she was younger. A lot of Totoro. I like little fuzzball goobers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. I really enjoyed watching it. But all his films, though, I think are just so gorgeous. Even if you're like not into the story, like I forget.
Right. I didn't like Ponyo that much. That one was all right.
I haven't seen that one. That's one of the ones I haven't seen.
It was all right. Weird fish girl thing. It was cute.
Yeah, I know.
It's cute. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just they don't quite resonate with me, but I do respect them for their existence, or their beautiful movies. They just don't resonate with me.
Well, the most recent one is called The Boy and the Heron. It looks like a kid with like a sword, and then he's got like a heron behind him and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'd give it a watch if it comes to a platform that I can watch it on. So the big so I got this wrong. This threw me off. So Rebel Moon got a theatrical cut.
Mm-hmm.
The theatrical cut was on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was when the release was because I go on Twitter and everyone's talking about Rebel Moon. Um, so the news is the theatrical cut is not getting good critical reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Audience scores are better. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on what you've heard?
So
And
I haven't seen it yet. I'm in the middle of holiday season, so I don't have the time yet to sit and really commit to a Snyder film right now. Even though I'm super excited for this movie, it sucks hearing that it's not as good as I was hoping it'd be a little bit more critically critically received, especially from IGN. Said it was like a 4.
Yeah,
That's a shame. I'm sure I'd be interested in sort of seeing how he shows how the universe works, and maybe if that's interesting enough, I can sort of forgive it, and where it fails. But I can't judge yet because I haven't seen it. But if the
I mean,
fans,
yeah, I haven't seen it either. My thoughts on this are well, so we're gonna talk about his comic book later in the show, but fellow nerd Rob, he went and saw it, and it sounded like he didn't like it. I then asked him, I was like, "Oh, you didn't like the theatrical cut?" And he said he did like it. Let's see if I can pull up his. So our conversation was this. He said, "I don't think I can review Rebel Moon without seeing the director's cut. I felt there were some things missing in this movie. The third act felt rushed. There were multiple characters I saw almost nothing from. Full characters in the trailer weren't even there." I said, "Sounds like you did. It sounds like you weren't a big fan of the theatrical cut." And he responded, "No, I did. I had a great time. Other than the theater fucking up the audio and some scenes I was eager to see from the trailers, they never showed. I thought it was good. I definitely have my gripes with it though."
so you know what? After hearing that, here's how I'm going to handle this movie. Wait for the totality of it to be out with the extended version, so you and I can sit and watch it in the extended versions, part 1 and 2, or 1, 2, and 3, however he chooses to tell it. We can watch the full Snyder-ness of it.
That's the general consensus. Is people are saying that it felt like a lot was missing, and they felt that the theatrical cut, whereas they think the director's cut, which is going to be much longer, is going to have all that stuff.
Right.
I agree with that. I just think that you have to treat each thing as its own thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the theatrical cut may not be great just because they try to,
right,
you know,
make it too
bring
big
it
and
down
squish it together.
Yeah. And that can happen. Maybe I know that it's not exactly the same because Joss Whedon more or less made the first one,
Right.
but it's sort of like the Justice League,
Yeah.
condensing all that into 2 hours versus having like a 4-hour film.
Right.
But not everybody likes 4-hour films. Some people absolutely hate the idea of sitting there and watching a film for 4 hours. Well, I mean, I got nothing better to do.
So that's why I have an intermission. Movies used to do that. Let's all go to the lobby, bro. Like, there's ways to handle that.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Right? Just
have ourselves a snack.
Right. There's ways to handle that. But anyways, so that's after hearing that, my mind is made up. I'm going to wait for the totality of it to be out before watching it.
What are we getting on the 21st? I don't know. Are we getting the director's cut, or are we on Netflix, or are we just getting the same as the theatrical release?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll find out, and as soon as we do, hopefully we can review it. I'm excited for this movie. Despite I don't really care about reviews though, but I do think, and I hate to go there because I kind of hate this argument. You do kind of see some of those hardcore Snyder fans pulling a Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah,
meaning like
they're trying to justify it.
Yeah, when the Phantom Menace came out, I did it. I was
I did it.
It's good. It's good. Right. It's not that bad. No. Yeah.
So
because they've been talking trash on every other director, and their God King maybe not have the best movie.
Right. God, that was me for Phantom Menace. I saw that movie 7 times in the theaters, and every time my brain was just trying to process what it had just watched. Because what I watched wasn't Star Wars. What is this? There's 2 poo-poo jokes in the same movie? What? What is this?
Yeah.
So I still hate it, but I love it, and it's still my number 1 guilty pleasure movie is Phantom Menace. It is just so
Phantom Menace?
charmingly bad. And
I
there's
think my favorite bad Star Wars movie, and I don't even necessarily think it's that bad, but is oh, what's that movie called?
Ewok
The
Adventure,
recent no, Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
And I think people forget how good Force Awakens actually is. I mean, at the end of Force Awakens, and I saw it at the luxury theater near your house, right?
Right. Yeah.
At the end of that, everybody stood up onto those stupid chairs that you have to like, and
Right.
then get their feet down,
Right.
and everybody started clapping, and
Right.
people were cheering and everything like that. And it's because it was a return to Star Wars,
Right.
even though it's not quite right.
Right.
Oh,
So
it's I gotta share the story. I share. There is I assume it's like AI generated art or some shit,
mm,
but someone shared this picture of Ray wearing a very skimpy outfit,
yes.
and made a new start for the new Star Wars film that she's going to be in. And I shared it with our group chat, and I was like,
The
oh, maybe
greatness
this
sense.
new film won't be so bad. Cap looked past all of that. He just saw Ray Star Wars and was like, no.
Trigger warning. So, having rewatched the original trilogy before the special editions, Luke Skywalker is a kind of a pushover for 99% of the movie until the very end when he stands up to the fucking Palpatine and tosses his lightsaber inside. No, you can't beat me, Your Highness. Sorry. Like, I'm a Jedi, bro. You can't break me. And that's what, leads to the redemption of Vader because, Palpatine kicks the crap out of Luke. Luke spends the entire series getting his ass kicked by somebody else, getting saved by other people.
Well, he kind of shines in the beginning part of Jedi. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
he,
whole
he
point.
does. And it was cool to see that. So for them to take
And then,
that.
like, more recently, we've gotten like, I mean, I don't give a shit what you think about the Mandalorian. That scene where Luke shows up
Oh
is
yeah,
just straight.
that was. Oh, there he is. Not this jaded hermit who just meh. Like, we don't want to see that. We left Luke off at his high, at like the blooming part of his Jedi career. In the expanded universe, it was fun.
It's controversial, and I realize a lot of people hate me for this, but I actually kind of like that film, the second of the sequels. What's it called again?
Oh,
Um,
the last
the Last Jedi.
Jedi, yeah.
On rewatches, I think that whole scene where like Poe and what's her name Rose go to the gambling and the
Yeah,
horses, all of that is garbage.
right,
But the stuff around Luke and everything and also I have problems with like Rey swinging her lightsaber all the way from one side to the other.
right,
I'm like, what are you doing? You just drop your guard, like.
right. So,
Um,
are there?
but I there are aspects of that film I actually greatly admire.
Okay, so I concur. As much as I hate the movie, there are some good things I do like about it. I can dissect this movie. I can dismantle this movie, but I think it gave us one of the best Yoda moments. That Yoda moment where he's talking to Luke is probably one of my favorite moments in all of not at least top 5 in all of Star Wars.
Let me mute my phone, guys. I run a D&D game tonight, so they're all like
excited.
D&D.
Yes, nerds assemble. So there are other things that I do like about that movie. However, it's then there's everything else that's just an affront to Star Wars. What are you doing? Who's this fucking bird woman? What is she doing? Who are you? Why is it such a... What is this? So, but yes, again, with your pizza metaphor, it's pizza. I just, with every Star Wars, it's a different slice of pizza. It's like, oh, I can pick off these toppings, but enjoy, everything else. It's Star Wars is pizza.
Right.
But, God, I desperately want to rewatch the end of Mandalorian Season 2 when Luke shows up. Because, it spends the whole episode with the team fighting just one of these robots. And then for just Luke to show up and just cut through all of them like butter. It's just like,
They
yeah,
captured the Vader energy in him, like
yeah,
he was scary.
just tear him
Like
down.
they're all like yeah, like oh shit, he's gonna show up. I'm
Right,
not sure
right,
whose side he's on.
and
Um,
and god damn it, that's Luke. That's Star Wars. Mwah. So good, so good. There's Jedi Luke. Anyways, apparently the D&D group agrees. But anyways, oh, speaking on Star Wars related news, apparently Adam Driver has come out in an interview and said that what they originally the character arc for Kylo Ren and how his character was originally supposed to be was changed for the movie, and it became something else, and people are using this as the woke rabble. But I hear this, and if you look at what George Lucas originally conceived with his characters, they're way different from how they came out on film. Like with 3PO and Han Solo is supposed to be like a gargoyle man. It's okay to have those changes. I actually liked Kylo Ren. I know you and I disagree on this wholeheartedly. I actually like the concept of Kylo Ren, and apparently,
look, okay, I've had this conversation on Twitter with other people. Let me just be clear.
Right.
Anytime you watch a movie or anything like that, any kind of art,
right?
But we're talking characters here. If I sit down and I watch a character and I go, "Wow, that guy's a pussy," and I'm like, I don't like him. He's weak. He doesn't intimidate me.
Right.
Nothing in what I'm saying is wrong.
Right.
Just like if you're like, oh wow, he's a badass. That was really cool. Look at what he did. Nothing in what you said is wrong.
Right.
But it's art. We all take our own interpretation.
Right. But see, I like the fact that he is continuing with the Skywalker legacy, if you will, of being a tantrum bitch. Yeah. That's what I liked about it. I think Kylo was the most Star Wars thing to come out of the sequels, because he felt Star Wars. He had that rage, but it was unwielding because he was just abandoned. So it made sense, and apparently they wanted to do like a reverse Vader, where he would start off good and sort of become more evil, and at the end he would be the one to rise to power. But clearly they didn't go that way. But
yeah, I just like when he showed up, like, and he steps out and he like stops the bolt, and
right.
I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
I was just like, oh wow, this guy's fucking scary. It reminded me when you first meet Vader.
Right.
But then as it went along, I was just like, oh okay. And part of it was Rey. She was too powerful. Like, so when the hero is just like, it's kind of like when you have Loki. I know everybody loves him as a villain, but then you compare him to Thor, who's his adversary. I mean, yeah, Loki, like in terms of intimidation, like Thor's intimidating, Loki isn't, generally speaking.
I suppose it's how they come across.
Yeah, but it's all down to also like it's in the eyes of the viewer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we? That was Rebel Moon. Okay, so Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Oh. A lot of those. Is the start of a new trilogy set 300 years after Caesar's death. So we're getting a continuation of that story.
I want to plug that title into my Grammarly and watch it malfunction.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That hurts my head.
Yeah. That's normal for them, but I mean, what do you think of the Planet of the Apes movies?
Honestly,
like the new one.
So I thought they were decent. I
thought they were really good. I was like, I rewatched them not that long ago, and I was like, wow, this is a really solid movie.
That's Andy Serkis, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then, playing Caesar.
Yeah.
And then, oh god, who was the guy that played opposite him? Well-known actor. That was the first movie.
Right.
And then it had the guy from that Alien show, Third Rock from the Sun.
He played
Dad.
Yeah.
And then it
was God, the CGI in that movie and the mocap was just mwah.
Yeah, and then you watch it and you're like, damn, that was a good movie. And then you watch the next one and you're like, damn, that was also a really good movie. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they keep the quality, I mean, hell yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I'm down.
Right.
And it's at 300 years in the future. The little one shot they gave is like one of the ape people riding on a horse, and then he's got like a hawk coming to his fist.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm down. I'm interested.
Is the series going to end with the arrival of what's his face?
You blew it up, you
You
bastard.
bastards!
Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape. Another iconic scene though was in the new one when Caesar was he no, that old thing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, it was good. It was good. I'm excited. I'm down for this new trilogy. Perfect.
I'm
Oh
still holding out for the Planet of the Apes musical starring Troy McClure.
yeah, and well, we kind of got it. Doctor Zayas, Doctor
Say
Zayas,
it, Doctor
Doctor
Say,
Zayas.
Doctor Say.
Can I play the piano? Well, I couldn't before.
It was Earth all along. From
Yes, you finally made a monkey. Old school Simpsons, the best.
From chimpanzee to chimpanzee. Bravo.
Right, well,
Bravo.
The next item is more on the sad point. Andre Brower, he died at the age of 61. Really sad. His rep says the cause of death was lung cancer. Terry Crews, he's penned a tribute to Andre Brower. I'll read it for you guys. Can't believe you're gone so soon. I'm honored to have known you, laughed with you, worked with you, and shared 8 glorious years watching your irreplaceable talent. This hurts. You left us too soon. You taught me so much. I will forever be grateful for the experience of knowing you. Thank you for your wisdom, your advice, your kindness, and your friendship. Deepest condolences to your wife and family in this difficult time. You showed me what a life well lived looks like. So, are you familiar with him? Did you? I mean, I know.
I'm bad with names, so.
I posted about it earlier. Andre Brower. I know him from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay, yeah, I never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so.
I watch it. I mean, it's a fantastic show. He played a very straight faced police captain to kind of balance Andy Samberg's kind of childishness. And it's his character. I mean, I'm rewatching the series. I've seen every single episode. And before his death, I actually was like, I'm going to rewatch it. So I started rewatching it, and then he passed away. And he's just so funny, just so funny. It's very straight faced,
just deadpan delivery.
Yeah, it's so good. And then sometimes, like as the show, when he starts, like he's like very robotic, but then as it goes, you start to get more of his personality and his character. And yeah, I can't sing the praise of that show enough. The premise of it just being a police station, it elevates itself so far above that. And also it's got Terry Crews in it. Who doesn't love Terry Crews?
Right. Isn't he?
Terry loves yogurt.
Well, wasn't he cast by James Gunn to be something in the DC verse?
I don't know.
Was he cast for something? I don't know. Could be
well, anyway, he will be missed. 61, such a young age. I feel so bad for him. But yeah, definitely be missed. If you haven't seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's on Peacock. Highly recommend checking it out. You just won't find a better show. All right, and then let's see what else.
What else we got?
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Oh, okay, actually, this is before that. So I just thought I'd post this. This was interesting. Fandango made a survey of the most anticipated films of 2024. So what do you think's at the top of the list?
Deadpool.
Yep. Deadpool 3. Very top of the list. Also Beetlejuice 2, Ghostbusters 4, Dune 2, Venom 3, Despicable Me 4. These are all fucking Inside Out 2, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, Gladiator 2. They literally are all sequels. And A Quiet Place Day 1. What are your thoughts? Which of those are you most excited?
I will say Deadpool 3 and Dune Part 2. Because that's the only thing that's not really a sequel of like a thing. It's the part 2. Everything else, God, Hollywood, why? Where's something new and fresh on there? Despicable Me
True.
14, Beetlejuice, what? Uh,
Well, for me, okay, I definitely want to see Deadpool 3. I actually am really excited for Beetlejuice too. I don't care. Michael Keaton, I'll watch it.
See, you know what?
And
You
also
know
Beetlejuice
what's
came out back in the 80s, so a sequel to that, it's so far past that like I don't really
right,
care
but
that it's a
it's not going to
sequel.
be PG 80s PG
Yeah, okay.
movie.
Well, it'll probably be 13, but yeah.
Well, but it's not going to have that edgy
True.
80s-ness. Oh, let's fuck him. Just and he grabs
It's
his
still
nuts.
Michael Keaton, though. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I did
I
like his
love Michael
Vulture.
Keaton.
I
I
love
can't
his
think of a
Vulture.
bad Michael Keaton movie if I tried. Ghostbusters 4, the last Ghostbusters was good, so sure, why not? Dune 2, I mean, it's really Dune Part 2 though,
Right,
so
that's what I'm
that's
saying. So I don't
I guess
count that
that's
as
the
a
one that isn't so much a sequel, like because
right.
it's the same movie. Despicable Me 4, I don't give a shit. Inside Out 2, I did enjoy Inside Out, so I guess.
Mm.
I am excited for Lord of the Rings: The War of
Do
Rohirrim.
we get to see her go through menopause? I would love to see that like age her up, and she's going through
But
menopause.
Lord of the Rings: The War of I doubt they will because they're going to want to have those same 4 inside characters.
Right, you
Remember
can
they all
still have them, but it just age her up to menopause and just see how
I
they
thought they all
do it.
turn into the same character at a certain age
I
or
don't.
something.
I didn't. I don't care.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Um, Lord of the Rings: War of Rohirrim, though, I'm excited for. Gladiator 2 as well. I'd see. I just because I thought Gladiator 1 was great. And then A Quiet Place Day 1, sure. I mean, I none of the other than Deadpool 3 and Dune 2 though. Those are the only ones that I would, and maybe Lord of the Rings: War of Rohirrim. Those ones I would pay to see in theaters.
You know what it is? It's these distant sequels nobody asked for that usually end up being subpar to their former selves. Like, and it all started with Star Wars. And everybody wanted a Phantom Menace in the 1, 2, and 3, but it was awful. I don't care about most of these. Tragically, will I watch them at some point? Probably in the background. But aside from Dune 2, which I think now that I'm really thinking about it, I think I'm most excited for.
Okay.
Deadpool 3, just because. But see, I'm nervous about that movie because
Not me.
I
As soon as I saw the shot of Wolverine and classic Wolverine, I was
right,
walking
right,
next to
right. But
Deadpool.
that doesn't mean that it's going to be good. It's just okay. There's Wolverine and the Wolverine. Cool.
No,
It looks great. No, it's tickling the same part of my brain too. But there's this forward just trepidation of
really? What about it is doing that for you?
the Disney franchise. Just Disney sinking their teeth into an R-rated, which should be an edgy R-rated superhero comedy.
Yeah, but
It's,
Disney's definitely gotten a lot like edgier. I mean, I watched them cut a guy's thumb off on a TV show.
okay. It's just I with trepidatious optimism, I proceed into Deadpool 3. But
Yeah, the thing for me with Deadpool 3 is Deadpool's 1 and 2 were excellent. Ryan Reynolds is like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
right, but now the Disney Corporation is stepping in. Here, enter the mouse.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't that doesn't Disney doesn't make bad stuff. I know that's controversial now to say, but the worst thing Disney makes, I go, yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, and they've made some of my favorite stuff. And then
Right.
so with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman,
Mm.
like those two together, of course, that sounds dope.
Right. It does.
Uh,
On paper, it does. But we'll see how the mouse plays with their toys. That's all I'm
I
saying.
guess. I mean, they said they were gonna let them do their thing.
I
So
mean, hopefully that would be the best case scenario. Is just here's studio money. Go make us $1 bajillion because we need it.
that would be the smart thing to do.
That would be the smart thing to do. Yes. So we shall see. I really want it to be good. I really, really, really want it to be good. I hope it's the best one out of the 3, but we shall see.
Yeah.
It's just taking all the toys and putting them together. Like just play with your toys.
Gladiator 2, though, I'm also interested in because I really enjoyed Gladiator. Rewatching Gladiator, I did that not that long ago. I think the story and everything's still great, but like the fight scenes are very dated.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
haven't watched
interested.
Gladiator in like 20 something years. My goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
it was a badass movie for its time. But yeah, like now, I don't know. I would be interested. I mean, the question is, do you want to revisit that verse? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, and even A Quiet Place Day One. Yeah, sure. I agree. There should be some like. I mean, maybe there are. This isn't all the movies coming out. This is just what people are looking for too.
Right.
Which shows you people like sequels and establishing. I know you don't. I'm just saying this is what
I
the people
know. I
think.
get it. I get it. I get it. It's just, yeah, I get it. It's fine.
Well, I think it makes sense though because you're going to be most excited for revisiting verses you loved
Right.
than a verse that you don't know is any good.
Right.
So
And
for this list, what are people looking forward to? That makes sense.
sure. I get it.
Well, can you think of a new movie coming out that you're looking
No,
forward to?
and that's tragic. I can't think of any new movies that are coming out that.
Or unique?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of any either. But I mean, I feel like advertising, I don't really pay attention to that much anymore.
Right.
Anyway, on that note, Critical Choice Awards. So I got a couple of these to discuss. One, we've been talking about this film. I don't think you've seen it yet. Neither have I, but we both want to. Godzilla Minus One.
Mm.
It's been nominated for Best International Film at the Critics' Choice Award.
Nice.
So yeah, that movie's just crushing it everywhere.
Nice.
So these are they have a lot of lists and stuff for Critical Choice Award
Mm.
or Critics' Choice Awards. I picked the one that made the most sense for our show.
Mm.
So I picked the best animated films. So these are the nominees: The Boy and the Heron, which we were already talking about;
Mm.
Elemental, which I was surprised by. I heard that movie sucked.
It was okay. It was
Okay,
it was benign. It was fine.
that was a new property.
Yeah.
Nimona, I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that.
Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. Now, to me, that I haven't seen all these, so I can't say for sure, obviously. But that film, I was
Spider-Verse
blown
is
away by.
so good.
Yeah, I thought it was so
So
good.
good.
And they really used the medium
Mm-hmm.
of an animated film and different styles and everything. Like
Yes.
it was gorgeous.
Right.
And the story was great. And I love the moment like with Miles and like he realizes he like bested all the other Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was just so much good stuff in that movie. Another one is Wish. I don't know anything about that.
Mm.
And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
That was that was a fun little movie.
Do you think it's better than Spider-Verse or you put Spider-Verse above
So
it?
I put Spider-Verse above it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What made that movie good was that they used children to be the turtles. That they used actual teenagers, and it was perfect. And it was the banter was fun. I didn't like their depiction of Splinter. I didn't like that. I didn't mind Jackie Chan voicing Splinter. I just didn't like the route that they took to becoming the Ninja Turtles. It was fine. Whatever. It was fine. But
You mentioned it before, but what was different about it?
so Splinter is no longer like a ninja master. He doesn't know the shredder or anything of that. He's just a suburban, no, not a suburban, an inner city New York dad who just happens to be a mutant rat who has adopted sons, and he's sort of living out just like the single dad lifestyle, if you will. And
Well, how do they become martial artists?
so by having them watch a bunch of 80s like training videos and whatnot,
yeah.
and action movies and stuff, which it's fine.
I can see
Watching
that's
old
fun for
VHS
kids
tapes,
because like, oh, if I watch like, Jackie Chan movies, I can do it.
right?
But yeah, my favorite depiction of Splinter is like the classic where he's like the pet of a martial arts master. He like watches and learns
Yeah.
that way. It'd be like if Brimstone here was like watching and learning from me.
Yes.
He would learn how to be like good at comic book reviews. I don't know.
Yes.
How to eat a Philly.
But no, I really enjoyed the movie. Fellow nerd Adrian and I saw it. I like the character designs. It was a departure with some of the characters like Bebop and Rocksteady. They changed, but it was
I
fine.
always wondered about Bebop and Rocksteady because those are like deep cut like music terms, you know,
Right.
like Rocksteady especially. Bebop like it's a bit more known, but they're I
Right.
forget. But yeah, and why are those their names? Like, where's that story? Like, I want that. Make a Bebop and Rocksteady movie, like you know,
You know
like
the origin story. Yeah.
yeah.
But it was a cool
um,
it was a cool movie, and what's nice is that if you go to Target, you see all the Ninja Turtle figures out, and the Ninja Turtle figures are always awesome to me because each one was just weird and unique and just so intricately detailed, and each had their own like
yeah,
weird
you
little
could pick up
accessories.
ones that you've never even seen before, and you were like, "Oh, this is cool." Yeah,
Right. And that's what made them cool is that every character was interesting in their own unique way, and you didn't have to be a fan of the Ninja Turtles to probably look through the list of all of them and be like, yeah, that one's kind of neat looking. Um,
Um, let us know in the comments who your favorite turtle is, because I think that says something about who you are. I'm a
yes.
Leonardo man.
So as a kid, I was a Michelangelo, but as an adult, I love Raphael.
Okay.
I don't dislike any of the turtles. It's just I
I
have
don't dislike any of them either.
because they're all awesome. It's just I have some that I don't like as much as others, but that's it's fine because they're still the Ninja Turtles. They're still awesome.
Yeah.
Like Donatello's still a badass, but he's
I
not.
mean, my favorite character is Casey Jones, but
Oh, Casey Jones is great. Um, but
based on wasn't he based on Punisher?
yeah, I think so. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense with the skull mask and everything. It
Yeah.
was it resembled Punisher. Um,
Anyway, so what of the Critics' Choice Awards are you excited about, or not excited about, or what do you agree with? I guess. Which of the nominees for Best Animated Film do you think should take the spot? So on to James Cameron and Avatar. So James Cameron says the big creative advance in Avatar 3 is just greater character depth.
hmm.
It's not about we're going to show you the best water VFX ever done.
Yeah.
You get more into the heart and the soul of the characters, which tells me like they're like, yeah, we can't really push this tech any further.
So I just visit we follow whatever Captain Jake's journey through all the different like nations of Navi. They're going to visit the
Yeah.
Fire Nation next, and then they're going to visit the Sky Navi, who live in the clouds, and they're all derpy derpy derp. It's just he's going to find new ways to push the limits like that. Wait, have you seen the new one yet? I know you didn't see it in theaters, but you eventually saw the new one, right?
Oh yeah, I saw it. Also, Avatar 4
Hmm.
supposedly will have a 6-year time jump. I like the idea of them going around though, like you said, and they'll see the Fire Nation,
Yeah,
and like everything was normal until the Fire Nation attacked.
of course.
But no, I just to me that quote though, where he's like there's no gonna longer gonna be like the best water effects ever. It's like you've already done it and you're not sure how to surpass that. They're like, what do we do now? I don't know.
Fire Nation,
Character?
Fire Nation.
Like, do we know how to do that?
Right.
Like, I don't know. The Avatar movies are great. I've watched them both. I had a good time watching them. And then I
They're,
immediately was just like, well, cool. You know what I mean? They don't stick with
they
me.
don't have the character charm as some of other James Cameron's works, and that's why they don't resonate with me. Did it get better in the second movie? Yeah, but I didn't care about them enough to begin with.
Mhm.
So the
I don't know.
bar
The first one, I mean, it's not character driven, but I did like the fight in the mech.
Oh yeah,
At
no,
the end.
that was cool. There's a lot of visual num nums to where I could forgive it for its character lacking shortcomings, but when I'm done, it's like okay, that was cool. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go watch Terminator 2 now, and it's just a superior movie. God, did you know they actually
uh,
flew the helicopter underneath the overpass? Like, did you know how, like, did you know how tricky of a maneuver that is? But James Cameron pulled it off because he's James Cameron, and if his
I bet you
roadblock is
Tom Cruise could do it
Tom
upside
Cruise could
down.
do it. Oh yeah, of course. He'd do a loop. But
But yeah, no.
turns out
Well,
water's James Cameron's nemesis. Oh,
let us know. Are you guys excited for the Avatar movies? What do you think about the 6-year time jump? And yeah, I mean, I'll watch them. I don't know. I just don't get excited by him, but I'll still watch him.
yeah.
So I mean, he's got my Anyway, new animated series. And actually, I have a side point. I didn't write this down, but have you noticed nobody's talking about X-Men '97? I am so jazzed for X-Men '97.
It kind of
It
went
comes out like so soon, and
so.
nobody's talking about it.
I actually thought of this the other week. Um, it is coming out soon, right?
Like next month, like in a few weeks.
Okay, because I completely forgot about X-Men '97. I completely forgot about it.
It's because they announced it forever ago.
Right, and it's been now that the strikes are over with. Now it's all check out Hugh Jackman in this. Look at Ryan Reynolds as that. So my head is thinking Deadpool 3. So it sort of jumped over X-Men '97. But I have a feeling X-Men '97 is going to tie into Deadpool.
Really?
Yeah, because I they're going to find a way to do it, and I hope they bring in.
I don't see it because X-Men '97. It's a pickup of the X-Men animated series from the '90s,
Right?
and so I don't see why you would like Deadpool is very goofy. I mean, that was a very serious show.
Hmm.
So I think it would
Well,
be a weird thing
at some point, it's
tie
going to have to be the collapsing of the multiverse, and they're going to pull that Wolverine into. And that's going to end up being Hugh Jackman Wolverine is the X-Men '97 Wolverine, and that's why he's wearing the suit. Something like that.
I don't see it, but I am super jazzed for it. It's going to pick up the story where it left off.
Where did it leave off? I started rewatching this
where
a few
like
years
like
ago.
what's his name? Professor X died.
Okay.
And so Magneto is going to have to lead the X-Men.
That's right, because Magneto had already become like a good guy at this bit.
Not really. It was like he was like Professor X was dying, and then like Magneto was about because he no longer had Professor X as his like counterbalance.
Right.
He was about to like lead the revolution, and then the X-Men come up and say, "Would you stop to help save Professor X?" And he's like, "Of course I would." And then so he goes and does that. But and this is all from memory, so don't take this with a grain of salt. I might have gotten stuff wrong. But I'm pretty sure Professor Xavier dies, and then Magneto is going to lead the new X-Men. And it's going to be set in the 90s, which is a great time to be set. So
right. Are they going with the old? And they're going with the old school animation style, right? They haven't released any trailers.
I hope they update it because, like, when you go back and watch those, I mean, I know the last season, especially because they had different animators and they lost their budget and everything. But even before that, it is a little dated. But yeah, so just update the animation, but keep the soul,
grit, that gritty soul of
the what's the name of the Claremont era X-Men. Keep it and don't dumb it down.
Right. Treat it with respect because it has such a unique tone and it takes
and Claremont's X-Men is just some of the best comics ever written.
Right.
And the fact that that's what they base that all off of, it's perfect.
Right.
I'm super excited. But anyway, that was more of a question. That wasn't a news point. But do let us know. Are you guys excited for X-Men '97? Do you not care? I think you have to be our age to really be like super stoked about it because if you're younger than us, you're going to be like, "What the hell is that?"
Right.
If you're older than us, you're going to be like, "What the hell is that?" You know what I mean? But we're in that perfect like hell yes.
Right. A perfect zone.
But speaking of animated series from Marvel, we're getting a new animated series called Eyes of Wakanda.
Heard of this?
It's so basically, throughout Wakanda's history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story.
Oh.
Sounds cool. I'll watch it. I mean, when it comes out, I'll put it on. Again, I hope it's more on leaning towards the adult side. I don't mind a little bit of comedy and stuff, levity to lighten it up. But I think Wakanda can go a little bit too serious sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I hope they lighten it up. And then the one question I have though is this. Okay, so big old asteroid mountain of vibranium in Wakanda. Right. Are they going around collecting stolen vibranium relics from Wakanda? Because there's other vibranium out there that isn't theirs. So are they just being dicks and stealing? Like, no, you cannot, and taking it. I don't want to do an accent because that would come off as really racist. But like Arctic vibranium, for example, that's
Right.
like a whole different thing. Are they going out there stealing, like going, you can't have that, you're not responsible enough? Because that's where I stand against Wakanda. Normally, I stand with them.
I never thought of it like that. Leave a comment
We
down
don't
below.
know. I mean, the show's not out. It was just that was what went through my mind. Also animated. I'm really excited for this one. It just looks refreshing, you know. Like
Mm.
sometimes you just see something, and you're like, oh, that looks cool.
It's a palate cleanser.
An animated series, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, will release Disney Plus 2024.
Okay.
It was previously titled Spider-Man Freshman Year.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It looks like kind of classic Spider-Man comics, you know, back when he was a nerdy guy in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it reminds me of that old almost what's his name, Jack Kirby style, you know, like not quite, but you can see the influence.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just sometimes that when you visit like what it once was
Mm-hmm.
instead of what it is now,
It's
it just
refreshing.
yeah, it's like it's
It's a
like a
palate
really
cleanser,
cool
just,
drink on a hot day, and you're
Yeah.
just like yeah, like fresh lemonade, you know.
It was perfect all along.
Yeah. I don't
Right.
know. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, so I heard of Spider-Man Freshman Year coming out. I wasn't aware that they changed the title, but yeah, if it's good, I'll watch it. I hope
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think I like that retro style.
Yeah.
Sometimes I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I want to look awesome, badass, you know, like over the edge Spider-Man where suits all ripped up and rah.
Right.
But other times I just like what's he doing in school, you know?
Yeah. How's he surviving high school?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Man, I tell you what, I fucking love Spider-Man. I got into a discussion with fellow nerd at Real Super Killers, and I was talking about it was actually because in prep for our death battle, I was learning all about Zatanna, and I just sometimes you go like, God damn it, comic book characters are too powerful.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like because of that power creep plus time thing.
Right.
But like Spider-Man, I like the characters like Spider-Man. Like he's powerful,
Right.
but he isn't like
He's
crushing
vulnerable.
the
He's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
he has a glass ceiling. Like,
yes, Spider-Man, Daredevil, like kind of like Daredevil's way weaker than Spider-Man. But you get my point.
Right.
They're I like those kind of characters that, like you said, are vulnerable. You know,
Right.
like sometimes you get tired of like I can do anything at any given moment. Like, yeah, I don't know. I get tired of it. Sometimes I like these lower level characters.
Yeah.
Also, it means they're in danger because, like, you put a like Superman against somebody, like, what are they gonna do?
Right.
I will stop you.
Break infinity. Yes.
Anyway, that's all I have in the news. You got anything interesting for us?
No, just that little Adam Driver bit. Actually, apparently, Tokyo Disney is closing down Space Mountain. So,
oh really?
Long may ye reign. Not sure what's getting put in place, but I don't know. That sucks. I love Space Mountain. So good.
I was scared of it as a kid. I would get on it and then like I would just have to close my ears and hold my ears.
Really?
And I don't know what the point of that was, but that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And then I would get off the ride and then I'd be done. But yeah.
See, what did that to me was a Matterhorn. Matterhorn always scared me because it's just such a low head clearance. I was afraid that it was going to get lop off my head. So, but anyways,
off with your head.
What shall we jump into?
Whatever you want. We've got the Hold Nerds. We'll be taking a look at Robbo 0797. I'll go ahead and post his handle. We'll be discussing his comic book, or issue 2.
Mm-hmm. So
we could go into. Oh, actually, I did want to give a quick review.
I have a quick review too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. I don't know if you gave it a watch yet. You said you might give it a look. Oh, you don't have Peacock, I don't think so. You probably haven't.
No.
But I took a look at
Halo?
No. Oh god, what's that show called? Twisted Metal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I watched episode 1 of Twisted Metal. Yeah, it is what's his name from Falcon, Captain America?
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. He's the main character. So it's a good show. I only watched the first episode and a little bit of the second episode.
Mm,
They bring out Sweet Tooth early, which makes sense to me because he's an iconic character.
right.
Anthony Mackie drives like a more kind of compact car with machine guns on the front.
Okay.
Basically, the plot is so yeah, you have the fall of society,
Right.
and then you have these like little cities
Mm,
that are still kind of standing, and then I think they call him milkman,
mm-hmm.
and that's what he is. His job is to drive between the cities and he delivers supplies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dangerous job. Most people don't survive. He's good at it.
Mm.
Sweet Tooth runs Vegas.
Okay.
It's all gone to hell, but nobody goes through Vegas because they're all scared of him.
Okay.
And
That's awesome.
so he gets a job from San
Callisto.
Francisco.
Is Calypso in it or Callisto? Is he in it?
I haven't seen them yet,
Okay.
but he gets a job from San Francisco, and the kind of the mayor of San Francisco,
Hmm.
she's like, yeah, she does make the iconic "I can make any wish you have come true,"
Okay.
but basically
That's Calypso.
San Francisco is really nice, and so she's like, yeah, you can live here now.
Hmm.
And if you do this job, but it's a really dangerous job.
Hmm.
And so that's the plot of the show. So he's gonna, but you also find out that like she makes it like they're in this really nice apartment. She's got her husband, she has her baby. She's like, oh, you've never seen a baby before.
Hmm.
But as soon as he drives away, she's like, get this away from me. And she hands the baby away.
Right.
And then the husband is just an actor. And she's like, so she clearly has no intention of like,
Right.
following through, and it's if he'll even survive. So the next episode is he's supposed to go through Vegas. I think I might have watched the whole thing or part of it. I don't, a little bit low blood pressure at the time, but he goes through Vegas and then runs into Sweet Tooth, and then Sweet Tooth, like he's like hanging out his car, he's like, "Are you here for the show?" And like it's a really, yeah, he does a good job, but like, oh, and it's also, speaking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the actress plays Rosa Diaz is in it.
Okay.
I love her character too. Her character is so funny because she plays this like badass, like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She plays this like badass like cop, like leather jackets all the time, and then and you hear her talk and stuff. And then I heard her talk on a talk show once. She's like, "Oh, hey!" It's like a completely different voice.
Different
like,
human.
yeah, but her voice even changes. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, I give Twisted Metal and just shut up and take my money. I'm gonna watch more of it.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was funny.
Okay.
And yeah, I forget. Oh, what's the guy's name who did Batman in the Lego movie?
Oh, Will Arnett.
Yeah, he does the voice of Sweet Tooth.
Perfect. Perfect.
And Sweet Tooth, I think, is a pretty major character because I just watched.
Is it a hard R? I hope it's a hard R.
I haven't seen anything that made me go like, oh wow, like The Boys, but I mean they're not shying away from stuff.
Okay.
I didn't think about it.
Okay.
I mean, I can't remember if there was swearing. There probably was.
Okay.
They did. Wait. Okay. So there's this cop. It's played by I can't remember. He's been in lots of stuff. But anyway, there's this cop and he like forces these two people to like. He's like, I'm going to shoot you both, or one of you can shoot yourselves.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So you do watch, like, they decide they're gonna like die together, but then her brother grabs the gun and blows his brains out. So it is darker. I mean,
Okay.
But yeah, I recommend checking it out. Anyway, you said you had a review.
What was the cop's name in the game? I forget.
I can't remember.
Can't remember. Anyways,
yeah, I don't remember a lot of the character names. I was never like a.
I remember the cars because we played the shit out of this as a kid during parties. And
yeah,
shit.
I played it. I didn't own it. I played it at a friend's house.
Yeah, that's how it was for me too. Anyways, I saw Leave the World Behind. It's on Netflix.
Oh, actually, yeah. So, just shout out, blanking. Sorry, but we did get a request to watch this and review it. I haven't seen it yet, so I will watch it. So just do a spoiler.
Yeah. So it sounds like I had the same human interaction in my life because one of my regulars said, "Hey, have you seen Leave the World Behind?" Oh my God! You need to watch it.
They specifically requested our review because they watch our show,
right?
And they said, yeah, because you guys do such good reviews, can you? And they were like, "Your mind will be
Right,
blown."
right. So it was the same thing with my regular. He said, "Your mind's gonna blow up, man," and blah blah blah. Now I didn't know that this was a book that had just come out, and Mrs. Cap actually read it. So we watched it together. I didn't know that this was the book. I remember, in hindsight, her talking about, "Yeah, I'm reading this book where it's like the apocalypse, and it only alludes to what's going on, but never directly tells you what's going on. And it's kind of interesting." So, um, having watched it, I hated the acting. I hated the
Yeah.
acting. Julia Roberts, I hated her character. I thought she was obnoxious. It was just so bad. I hate Julia Roberts sucked me out of the movie because her character was just insufferable for no reason, and all the characters were just weird for no reason. And it was just I didn't believe the I didn't believe it, if that makes any sense. But I did really like how, they were alluding to something bigger. I like how they sort of set things up to be paid off later on, like with the tick on the kid's leg, and it's like, oh well,
Mhm.
this happened. Oh, it could be this. So it does leave things a little bit ambiguous. But sometimes, because the overall message is, well, it could be one agency or it could be all of them working against us. I Mrs. Cap said that they did sort of depart from the book,
Which, yeah.
as they do. But she told me that in the book, she initially thought that what was going on was some type of alien attack. Um,
Mm.
and she said that the book is so subtle with how they tell you what's going on. So in the book, you never see the planes hitting the shore. You never see the bombs going off. You only hear the sounds. You only see the animals, and it leaves it really open. So she said that this movie sort of explains more than the book did. And that's probably because if you just had a movie like this and didn't explain anything, it probably would have pissed people off. And thinking about it, if I could pick somebody to remake this movie in their own style, I think Hitchcock would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
So,
So you give it a.
so I give it a, you got to do what you got to do. It did. I really enjoyed the premise, and I did figure out how they go through different chapters, and
It's in theaters, right?
it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
Netflix. It's a got to do what you got to do. Did it blow my mind? No. Did I like the premise? Yes. It's one of those things where sometimes not seeing the monster makes the monster scarier.
Oh, totally.
And I guess that's what the book did better, is that it never showed you the things that were going on. You heard the sounds, and it was the reaction of that. And it was true, like, psychological horror, where it's like, we're caught in this thing. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
I always think that a lot of time when you don't see the monster, it makes it scary. That's why a lot of like the classic horror movies where you're fighting a faceless force, almost,
right.
kind of scarier.
And the movie I go to with that is the movie The Fog, which terrifies my mother. You don't see the pirate ghost really until the very end, and even then it's just a silhouette with eyes. So,
Okay, here's a question. If someone posts this on Twitter talking about horrors, so you'll get paid something like whatever, it doesn't matter, $1 billion. Who cares? If you can, but you have to be chased by a horror villain for 48 hours. So you have to survive 40 hours with one of those on your ass.
Okay.
Who do you pick?
Oh.
You know who I pick?
Who?
The thing from what's it called? I think it's not it. The Following.
Oh,
that thing sucks.
The STD.
It just follows you super slowly at like a walking pace. So I would just get in my car and then I would just drive further than it would take 48 hours of walking. And then and then I would just chill, and then ding, you get money.
Right. Oh. I don't know. Oh my goodness. So I love Chucky, but I wouldn't want to be chased by Chucky because that'd be terrifying because it's fucking Chucky. However, you know what I would do?
It Follows. That's what it's called.
So you know what I do? Probably Jason, because Jason is just sort of like a meandering,
But he teleports.
Oh, that's right. He does teleport, doesn't he? Fuck. Oh, never mind that. Because I would take from the
Jason would work if you were a 5-year-old, because then he wouldn't kill you.
Right. See, Freddy. Freddy, no.
He'd have to stay up for all 48 hours.
Actually, you know what? I could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'll choose Freddy because you know what? When I'm in Vegas mode,
You just drink
I
coffee.
just vodka Red Bulls, baby. I choose Freddy. Just for the sheer
right.
fact that I will just force myself to stay awake because I did it in Munich. Damn it, stayed up for like 3 days to hard reset my body. Staying up means just
What about the chick from The Ring? I just go camping.
yeah, right.
You
I
know,
actually thought about the Ring, bro.
I'd be a little worried about the phone, but even then, like, what, she would just be tiny. I don't know.
Just step on her. She's coming out. Just keep stepping on her. Throw a rock at it.
I was always scared as a kid of Jason. This is the weirdest thing. I don't know why my brain did this.
Mm.
But when I was always scared of Jason as a kid, I was okay because I knew he didn't kill kids, but I was still scared of him.
Mm.
And then in my head, I was like, but Apocalypse could beat him. Like, why did my brain go to Apocalypse? You know what I mean? That's such a leap, you know?
The embodiment of all evil. Of course. Like, how is that your play? Like,
I don't know. It made me feel better for some reason.
Is Apocalypse on your side?
I guess. I just imagine him getting really big and then just stepping on him.
That works, but
I know it makes no sense.
Are you one of his horsemen?
I guess. It never went beyond. Oh my god! Like, I'm watching Jason.
Right.
And then, but wait, Apocalypse could beat him. That makes me feel better somehow.
Right, but I want to get to the bottom of this. Like,
shut up! It's not supposed to. There's no logic.
Like, is he your friend?
I never fleshed it out.
Did he give you his power?
No.
Are you Archangel?
No, this is my pure brain just went. Apocalypse can beat him, and then I imagined how, and I just imagined him being like, "I am beyond all mutants," and getting big, and then like Jason being like, "Ram," with like a chainsaw, and then Apocalypse just going plunk with a foot, and then for some reason the movie ended. Like,
all wrapped up.
Yeah, I see we got things wrapped up around here.
Okay.
There's like a rainbow and just like everything worked out.
So what did it for me as a kid, when I was younger, I watched one of the Critters movies, and I think it was the second one where they were celebrating Easter, and the Easter eggs were the critters, and
oh yeah.
What are they called? The Kill
I don't know. I remember vaguely watching them, but
those movies are cheesy greatness, but it terrified me because we had eggs in the fridge, and those eggs clearly have the critters in it, and I was afraid to go to the peepees because I saw a thing of the critter coming out of a toilet. So all of a sudden there are critters everywhere, and I was terrified to move, and I started just crying. Now my parents, they were home, they were just out organizing the garage. They didn't know that I was panic mode because the house was just infested with critters. So I walked outside and I was just screaming, crying, and finally they came, and it's the critters. They made sure that the critters were all gone.
My big I watched Friday the 13th, not the first one. I think it might have been number 4 or something like that. Way too young, and it's the only movie that's truly scared me to the core because I was like, I was living in Texas at the time. So I was probably like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And my best friend at the time, he just loved those movies, so I sat down and watched one with him, and then I had nightmares about Freddy for the rest of my like childhood, like really bad nightmares. I struggled to sleep, and then I remember explaining to my mom once, I'm like I don't want to go to sleep, and she said, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I have dreams about Freddy Krueger." She goes, "Freddy Krueger's not real." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's how he gets you,
right?
He gets you in your dreams."
You can argue this.
Yeah.
So, haven't you met Robert Englund a bunch of times, and he's like the coolest dude ever?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Yeah, the guy that I used to do the company I used to design for, the owner of the company, is good friends with him.
That's awesome.
And so he would come over. They throw parties sometimes. Their house is awesome. They were all into like the Munsters and things like that. So their house kind of has that same style aesthetic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So,
anywho,
for
what were we
me,
talking about?
So for me, the movies that traumatized me as a kid when I was younger. So my dad had me watch The Thing.
I know Tremors got you because you said that when we did it.
Okay, so the Tremors came. So what? Tremors is one of them. I saw that in theaters with my cousins, and I was the whole movie like this, and they were like my older sisters, so they just bullied me. They weren't malicious, so I love my cousins. They were great. It's just I was this, and I think one of them said, "Okay, it's safe to look," and of course I looked and I see this giant thing, and it scared the shit out of me. It's probably fucking Sarah. So, but for that, it was the
Did
thing.
the witches get you at all? I just gotta ask that one because that one got so many people our age.
So, I don't think I.
The one where they like turn them into mice and stuff like that.
So that one didn't bother me so much. The ones that the thing
that
bothered me.
claimed a lot of young people because the premise of the movie is there's these evil adults that want to kill you,
Right.
and they look like regular adults,
Mhm.
and they have meetings about how much they want to kill kids,
Right.
and then kids go and see the movie, and it's like, holy shit, there's grown-ups that want to kill me.
So
Like,
I don't think I've ever seen The Witches.
oh, okay.
Oh, like
They turn
I'm sure I have, but it's just one of those that's sort of in the.
that's one of the
The
movies that
zeitgeist
claims
of my
many of
brain.
our generation. Like you they it just, and it makes sense. I mean, you're a kid and you're supposed
Right.
to trust grown-ups, but then it turns out like there's this evil, and they're like nice looking grown-ups too. They look like moms and stuff. you know?
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
Oh
What was
wait.
it?
So the thing that scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Beetlejuice scared the shit out of me
Yeah.
as a kid.
I didn't like Beetlejuice as a kid because I didn't understand it.
You don't. I don't think any of us at our age really enjoyed Beetlejuice until we were older. It's just so beyond our comprehension as to what
Yeah.
the humor. Just it's so above the heads of the.
Oh,
5,
rewatching
6
it
year
though,
old.
I think it's like
Rewatching it is
absolutely
mwah. I have a movie poster
Yeah.
downstairs I need to find somewhere to put in the den.
it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's such a funny movie, but again, it'll soar over the heads of most children of our era when we watched it. But the claymation, everything about that movie is terrifying as a kid. There's this giant fucking worm, and Beetlejuice
Yeah.
is a snake. It's just visually, it's fucking terrifying.
Oh,
the-
so good.
The movie Dolls still haunts me to this day. I blame my reason for.
Is that the one where the? No, I'm thinking of Puppet Master.
Yeah,
That one got
Puppet.
me.
Yeah, so the Puppet Master I watched when I was a little bit older. It didn't scare me, because
With the little puppets putting leeches on you in your sleep.
was that the one? Was that Puppet? No, I don't think that was Dolls. Dolls was
There's
the one.
there's two. There's Puppet Master where I think there's two Puppet Masters, but
There's
there's Puppet
several.
Master where he has a little like they're he made little dolls and they're like terrifying.
Yeah, and there's
Like,
like
one of
the one with the drill arms and
drill
there's one-
arm, yeah, and the one's like who's like really
yeah, the big
ripped,
rip guy. Yeah.
and then there's one that like spits. It was the leeches because leeches are real,
Mhm.
and that's where I learned about leeches.
Mhm.
And in one scene, this guy's dreaming and he wakes up and he pulls up his shirt and he's got massive leeches like this size across his belly.
Oh, I don't remember.
And and I was just like, no, and then I got terrified of leeches.
Yeah. I
I
don't
think it's
remember that.
Christmas and we're talking about like Halloween style films.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyways, we detracted. So, anyways,
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do on Leave the World Behind.
All right,
Anyways.
and Twisted Metal for me is a just shut up and take my money. I think it was great, good
Mhm.
time. At least the first episode, maybe
right.
second episode. I'm definitely gonna watch more of it, so I'll let you guys know as I transverse this series. All right, well let's jump into White Owl issue number 2. I'm gonna go ahead
Yes.
and post Rob's link to his Kickstarter.
Mhm.
Please support him. We support indie comics. We hope you guys too. I was hoping I added Rob and mentioned we were talking about his book, so hopefully he comes on at some point. He lives on the East Coast, so and he has a kid. And
Yeah,
everything,
it's
so
fine. He'll tune in later.
yeah. Anyway, but you can see his link or link to Twitter, which has all his details. But I'm also going to go ahead and post in his Kickstarter. What did you think? You read the first issue.
So I read the first issue. Enjoyed
and
it.
now this is the second one.
And now this is the second issue. I really enjoyed this issue. It starts off with some soldiers. They're looks like they're pinned down or something on the battlefield. One's injured, possibly dying, and sort of getting ahead. But it's revealed later on that at least potentially 1 in every 10 people in this universe has like superhero capabilities. It's just some are still dormant. Very X-Men it felt X-Men-ish, I would say, from me. Um, anyways, we're introduced to a new character, Calvin, who's sort of like a Dr. Manhattan type. His power sort of manifests when he almost like consumes the energy of his platoon around him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. He's almost like a Dr. Manhattan. You see him sort of becoming one with the universe, if you will. You see him starting to go around casting miracles with people. I thought it was interesting. I like we were introduced to White Owl, who is what's the character's name? Oh my goodness, Lee. Yes, Lee.
Lee is my favorite character.
I like Lee. We'll talk more about it later. I like his power. Anyways, Lee has White Owl.
Well, I like him because he's kind of those behind the scenes characters, like the stranger.
Yeah. And he has like teleportation power. Like he has
yeah.
But we have it reminded me of the Zack Snyder Superman moment where White Owl goes up against a dude who can shoot lasers from his fingers.
But it's hilarious. I said the exact.
Okay, yes.
So Rob and Rob asked me a while ago because he sent us this link a while ago. We just haven't gotten to doing it on the show. But he asked me what I thought, and I said, I literally said this. I said, White Owl struggling with how he decapitated the laser guy vaguely reminds me of Man of Steel. And he said, oh, that's a cool comparison. How do you mean? I said, I thought it would be risky. White Owl's literally crying all episode.
Right.
And then I said, he said he thought it was important to his characterization. I said, well, he did it more on accident, but he was stopping a villain with a laser from lasering people in half.
Right.
Like Soups and Man of Steel.
And he unintentionally killed him.
Yeah. And I said, also like Soups, he had to grapple with what he had done.
Right.
And I said, you just dove into more, which I appreciated. It was good character growth. So it was like that, but he expanded on it.
Right. And what's great is that also ties into the new character that we're introduced to, the female character with the speed power. Is that it sort of ties into what I think the boys did well, where yes, you have these powers, but you have the side effects of the powers and what happens when these powers manifest and you don't know what they are and how to control them. Shit happens. So that's awesome. Good. We both picked up on the same thing. Ha ha ha. Because the moment I was done reading that, I was like, oh, that's a very Man of Steel like Superman.
He didn't even realize he was doing it, and it's funny because he's such a big fan of Man of Steel.
Oh, so there you go. That's awesome that we both picked up on that. But then what he did better than Man of Steel is that you have Night Owl spending the rest of the issue kind of coming to peace with that. Yeah. And dealing because he didn't wake up that morning expecting to laser off a dude's head, and you're sort of sitting with that the whole time. And yeah. So
that was good. Yeah, no, yeah. They went further with it.
Right.
So it wasn't just
right. So that's what made it great. So it felt like, hey, Rob, we Frosty and I'm glad that we both found the similar thing there, and the fact that he's a Snyder fan, bro. You did better than Man of Steel, bro. There you go. Mwah.
He also, when I discussed it, I just thought to pull up some of his questions and propose them to you. So he asked, what do you think of Momentum's origins and Paradox's introduction?
All right, so with her, again, this sort of the whole undercurrent of the comic is, acknowledging your power and the ramifications of it. So you have Calvin, who, holy crap, I have this power now, but it's at the expense of my platoon. You have Night Owl, who's coming into his powers, but it was at the expense of doing a Zack Snyder Superman. You have Momentum. What was her name again? Momentum.
Momentum.
Yeah, Momentum. Cool name, by the way. Just it works.
Yeah, for a speedster.
It works. Her, as she comes into her powers, that she runs so fast that she phased through the competitors and their children, mind you, and you're there at the finish line, and you're just covered in their blood and there's entrails everywhere. That's the whole.
That was dark. Yeah, it did remind me of the boys. Yeah.
So that's the whole undercurrent of this issue is, the responsibility of coming into your own powers, and sometimes it's at the expense of others, and you don't know when or how it's going to manifest. So I loved it, absolutely.
Yeah. What did you think of Paradox?
Paradox.
So he reminded me of Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. So or Calvin. Yeah, very Dr. Manhattan.
Because he loses his humanity.
Yeah. But then it's
he's going around like trying to
summon water.
Perspective is shifted.
Right.
on his reality. He's no longer the person he once was in life.
Right. Which the internet rabble will say, Calvin is a dead name. Rabble, rabble, rabble. But anyways, no, I liked all of it, and then they came together at the end. Lee is my favorite character. I love his power of what's he call it, deep sight.
Yeah, Lee. Yeah.
Or he just sort of sees it in people. I really like. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but I also I'm Doug. I really like those characters. Like, he reminds me of Phantom Stranger. I know the powers are different, and Phantom Stranger is obviously probably way more powerful. But I like those characters that are kind of the ones that are the behind scenes ones,
right?
And they kind of make things happen. They're the ones that are making everything move forward,
right?
And they have plans. And like, he shows up like, yeah, I need you. You're coming with me. Now you're gonna do this,
right?
And then like, yeah, he cuts the guy's hand off, and it's like, oh god, what am I gonna do,
right?
And like, but it's all because of Lee's the one that's he's the one turning the crank. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
I do have a thing. So White Owl or Rob was talking about Paradox.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was a quick introduction. Next issue, he's going to focus on White Owl and Slay, so Paradox won't appear. But issue 4, his art continues, and we're going to get a chance to see how his story differs from Dr. Manhattan.
Nice.
So
I can't wait. It was solid all the way, solid.
What did you think of Fortessa and the very heavy dialogue page?
Fortessa and the very heavy dialogue. Was this with the death of her mother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's character development, but what it does is it addresses the origins of her powers, I guess. Because clearly she.
Yeah, I didn't even feel like the dialogue was heavy.
I thought it was fine. You're going to have those moments of exposition. It's just how it's portrayed. I thought it was fine, but it sets her up.
I also like how White Owl is sort of becoming a mentor.
Yeah, step 1, step 2, yeah.
Yeah. It's like if Lee is the Phantom Stranger, White Owl is Captain America.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Anyway. Yeah. But anyways, it's Shut Up and Take My Money. When's issue 3 coming out?
Well, I mean, he's still Kickstartering issue 2. We just got to full spoiler. We got an early edition because we're us and we're friends with him.
You're cool.
It's not necessarily the one that we got. Things may change in the final one. So like just dialogue things, but we pretty much got the finished story. But yeah, like I said, I posted his Kickstarter. Go to his Kickstarter and support him. It's a really cool comic. Kind of there's I can see like where like Spawn inspired the art style a little bit, and like Rob likes very like serious stories. One of the things I love about it is his relationship with his girlfriend, which is very supportive, and
right.
Yeah, he's writing very solid characters. And this comic, we got introduced to a lot of characters. Issue 1, you get introduced to White Owl. Issue 2, you get introduced to a lot more characters. But each person gets a chance to shine.
Right. Each has their moment.
And you feel like the comic. It's not one of those stories where like it just ends and you're like, well, where's the rest of it? You know what I mean?
Right.
It felt like you read a good comic. You know?
Right.
Like, yeah. Totally recommend his book. It's great. I think he has a giveaway. It might be too late, but check out his channel, and support his comic. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna have him on the show again sometime, and we'll probably discuss further. But it's just shut up and take my money from me.
Oh, 8,000%. No, shut up and take my money. It was good. It felt like, hey, I saw what Batman, or I saw what the Superman movie did. I'm gonna do it better with my own characters. And he
didn't know that. He didn't. That was subconscious.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what makes it great, is that we see the outside influences, but in a good way. It's familiar but different. Like we can point to those things and be like, oh yeah, we could see where you got the influence for it. So yeah, shut up and take my money. 8,000%.
All right. So check it out when it comes out. Check out issue 1, which I think you can check out just by going to his page. Let us know what you think. And like I said, support indie comics. Let's jump over to Battle Nerds.
Are we doing this? Y'all
ready? Do you want to explain the game?
Yes. So Battle Nerds, this is where Frosty and I randomly roll from a list of 100 pre-selected fighters that has been selected from all of you, and we pit these characters into Mortal Kombat, where you get to decide who wins, who dies, and gets to move on to join the upper pantheon, the upper echelons with Mr. Spock and Rogue. My goodness. Now, my bad, guys. I forgot to put the link on the Facebook page. It's been super busy at work, but we had Godzilla versus the Terminator, the T-800, last week. I thought I had a pretty good argument for it. A vote for Godzilla is a vote for Hitler, but, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not a vote for Hitler though. It's like, because I mean, America did it. Anyway, but there was a fun debate. You can tune into last week's episode, but we don't decide the winner. You guys do. So we posted the poll on Twitter, as well as some of you guys messaged me directly. You can leave likes, comments, all that shit. Or you can comment on the YouTube video. But anyway, after tallying up all the numbers, by a narrow margin, Terminator takes out Godzilla.
Yes!
So Godzilla is now off the list. We're down to 27 fighters.
Nice.
Tonight, we pit Gizmo, the Mogwai, from the movie Gremlins, against DC's sorceress herself, backward speaking sorceress.
Yes.
Zatanna. Now,
oh boy.
Cap.
Yes.
A while ago, I forget. In one of our previous battles, Wolverine went up against Inuyasha, and you didn't bother to do your research on Inuyasha, so I basically crushed you in the debate. And then the next time you went up against an anime character, you said, "No, I'm gonna go nuclear on you," and you pulled the most powerful version of your character. By the side rule, we can pick whatever version of the characters we want. And you crushed me. So I'm going to go nuclear on you. Zatanna. I'm going with the comic version of Zatanna.
Okay.
And I did a fair amount of research on Zatanna. She is brokenly powerful. Here's how I beat Gizmo. I reached through time and space all the way out to the creator verse itself, the writers themselves who created Gizmo. I then pull that paper into my hand, I crumple it up, and I throw it in the trash can.
Okay.
Gizmo no longer exists.
Okay. So, what is Gizmo?
Now, we will be putting up the polls on Twitter. So
all right, no.
Go ahead and make the one button Zatanna.
I am going to crisscross applesauce for this.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Why can Gizmo... Well, first off, which version of Gizmo?
So I'm going to go with... from Gremlins 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so, Gremlins the movies. That's where
you're
the same character.
The Gremlins movies. So,
just like that.
Now, what are Gremlins? Now, here's the thing. I will have to use Gremlins. So at some point, I'm going to make Gizmo get wet. It's just you need the Gremlin.
So Gizmo gets himself wet to reproduce, and then he eats after midnight.
Yeah.
So now it's Zatanna versus Gremlins.
Okay, so now it's Zatanna versus Gremlins. Now, what are Gremlins? Now, if you watch the first movie, the Gremlins are a physical manifestation of chaos itself. There will always be chaos. So long as there's chaos, there will always be Gremlins. And I think that they even touch on this a little bit in DC lore, where they do tie Gremlins to chaos. So
yeah,
Zatanna is essentially fighting the physical representation of chaos itself. That I think
it's a stretch, but go ahead.
So she might be able to go to do a thing, but something is bound to go wrong because it's chaos. So things won't go according to her plan. Something will go wrong because it's those rascally Gremlins. Therefore, she will fail at whatever it is she's doing because chaos will win. Therefore, Gremlins win.
She beats Clarion.
Shut up.
So your argument just went in the trash with the crumpled up piece of paper. Zatanna is so
I know she's
broken and overpowered.
overwhelmingly powerful. They just had
She
a death battle with her and
they pissed her
Scarlet.
against Scarlet Witch. Yeah, if you look at her feats, and it's almost annoying that she's this power. Nothing beats her.
Right.
Like just nothing. I mean, the fact that she can just like casually reach through the writer's verse itself, and then like that's how she beat. She was going up against like an all powerful being, and she like reached beyond that.
Right.
I mean, she controls the fabric of reality itself. You mentioned chaos. Clarion is like the god of chaos.
Right.
She beats him.
Right.
I mean,
Shut
the only person that I can think of that's been this powerful on this show is Constantine.
Yeah.
And I mean, she puts up with Constantine. And I mean, so like I don't know who wins out of the two of them because both of them are just ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't when I put together the list of 100 iconic characters, I typed in and I pulled resources from the internet. I didn't know Zatanna was this brokenly powerful. I was like, yeah, I've read her in a few comics, But then you start looking at her feats, and it's just broken.
Right.
I don't even know how to discuss this fight anymore.
Right. I mean, my only argument was the gremlins being a physical manifestation of chaos. And
do you remember in the show, in the Young Justice show, at one point she like summons basically gremlins?
Yeah. I'm pulling from that also.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's not up to us, it's up to y'all. So y'all might feel sympathetic toward
that was the best one.
Hey, you know what? I came up with something.
I'm with Cap. I'm not sure how to beat Zatanna. We will put. Well, what do you? I mean,
So
do you have any way that
it would be?
Do you have any way that Gizmo could do it rather than pulling a gremlin army?
Gizmo can do it. Oh God, I don't know. Show up in whatever. Go to Belly Burger and eat like the Super Belly Burger Supreme that gives him like super Mogwai powers that can have him go up against Zatanna or something.
What?
I don't know.
There's a Super Belly Burger that gives him powers? I didn't know about it.
I don't know. I'm just pulling it out of my ass because it's a fucking little furball against Zatanna who can summon a furball at will.
What if he got a lantern ring?
He would be Hope. Okay, so Gizmo with a blue lantern ring. Okay.
So it's now Zatanna versus like the Hope Corps.
Right.
Who pull in their buddies from the Green Lantern Corps, and there's this big giant with Gizmo being like,
but anyway.
That's the only way I could think about it. Maybe you could pull a DC artifact, something like that.
Yeah, but I try not to do that because I feel like the characters should be able to stand on their own.
I know, but I mean, sometimes I dip into the other. Like, what if he got a scarab?
That'd be awesome. What if Gizmo makes a pact with Trigon?
Oh, that's dark.
Yeah, there we go.
But the problem is Zatanna even pwns Trigon. Like,
I know it's Zatanna.
I had no idea. I honestly, until I researched her, I had no idea she was this brokenly powerful. Now she isn't always, but like, I mean, if you just look at like the power creep plus time rule in the comics, crazy. Anyway, we'll put up a poll. You guys decide who won the debate. Me with Zatanna or Cap with Gizmo. And it'll be up on Twitter, but you can also and our Twitter handle is @NerdsPitch. But you can also message us on YouTube, Twitch, or you could slide into our DMs, however you want to do it.
Slide into our DMs.
So we got 27 of the fighters left.
I rolled a 19.
Okay, let me. Nope. Still a nope. Okay. I've got an 18. So, new to the list, you got 17? Is that what you said? 19. Oh. So this is going to be two first place combatants going up against each other. Each with 4 wins. Apiece.
No!
Rogue, who I've got, takes on the Wolverine.
Oh,
so X-Men versus X-Men.
Haven't they fought before?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's all this time.
Yeah.
They probably had a disagreement. I mean, and thrown down.
Oh my goodness! So either one or both of them are going to be knocked off next week. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, I think we should agree next week we go with standard
Standard,
comic
yes.
versions.
Okay.
Not like let's not pick crazy
It's
powerful.
just a
You know,
traditional nerd fight.
yeah. I want Rogue
X Men,
from like
X Men, just the cartoon.
yeah. Okay, we could do X-Men cartoon. X-Men '97 coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
All right. So tune in for that next week. Let's see how much time we got left. We got about 20 minutes left. I do have a rant. I got into a long debate with at Sword Clash 117.
Hmm.
I asked him if I could use it on the show. He said yes. He requested me send him a copy because he doesn't like podcasts with a timestamp.
Okay.
I said I'm probably too lazy to do that. But I said the rants are usually at the end.
Okay.
So you can find it if you want. I'll go ahead and paste his Twitter handle.
Okay.
You guys can reach out to him, let him know where you lie on it, or go ahead and discuss in the comments. We always like to hear. But here's the question proposed. Let's see. Is Sam Raimi's / Grace Topher or whatever Topher Grace's Venom? How similar to that is comic book Venom to you? I'm not saying is it like what are the similarities? Do you think they're very different characters? That's what we're asking.
I mean, we didn't get a single "We Are Venom" in that entire movie.
Yeah, I don't remember one. For me, it would have been "I Want to Eat Your Brains," but yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't get a single "We Are Venom" in the entire movie. He looked skinny and weak. Like he looked sickly. He wasn't Venom. Venom's like a
it's the Topher Grace. Yeah.
Like who's this weenie? It was just are you lost? Like who are you? It was. I mean, he was defeated by Rebar. Like, come on.
Well,
he didn't eat a single brain. He wasn't Venom. He was just a more emo Peter Parker.
This is a very long conversation. Well, I want to point out Sword Clash Woman 7 a very good debater. We had a very, very long. I'm trying to find the beginning of it so I can grab his initial point. Okay, here he goes. So what I said. So the question proposed was Wolfsbane Comics, also someone who watches their show at Wolfsbane Comics. The way I saw, someone originally posted Venom in Spider-Man 3 isn't a good adaptation, but he's so much of a loser that it's funny to watch. Wolfsbane then responded with, the way I saw it, this version of Eddie Brock, he was a dark mirror of Peter Parker, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Possessing all the traits and given all the powers, but having none of the responsibility. It was fun to see, and I don't care. I don't know if Raimi intended for that to happen. I agree. He is like that's why they picked Topher Grace because he kind of looks a little bit like what's the name? They're both kind of scrawny and weak, and he's supposed to look like the dark mirror of him.
Okay.
My response is, I said I hated that Eddie Brock personally. I tend to be forgiving of adaptations, but he was just nothing like Eddie.
He didn't have the presence. It just
that I was familiar with, and it kind of ruined it for me.
Right.
So this is where Sword Clash 117 came in. Rami's Eddie captured the delusion and irresponsibility, along with the twisted sense of justice and humor that the comic version had, in my opinion. So then it went off, and we talked for several days about this.
Okay.
But basically, here's my opinion.
Okay.
Comic Eddie, and I got really into
Lethal Protector.
Venom during the Lethal Protector and the miniseries runs.
Right.
So that's what I got. And then I went back and I read the original Todd McFarlane run where he was originally created. And he's a tragic, broken story.
Right.
It's sad. I mean, here he is. He's this
talented photographer, journalist, and he's getting.
Well, he's a journalist. He's writing these stories about a serial killer.
Right.
And it's a very popular article. Eventually, a serial killer reaches out to him. I think his name is Emil something. He reaches out to him and he says, "I'll give you an interview." Eddie agrees to the interview. It's becoming even more popular. The police are like, "You have to give us your source because we've got to catch this guy." He's like, "I can't," because we also debated about this. he thinks he was not revealing his source because he wanted the fame. I
Right.
think he was just being a journalist because that's what journalists do.
Right.
They don't reveal their sources
Right.
because it kind of kills your integrity. Because then what if
Right.
another serial killer or someone else is like,
Right.
I'm going to tell you then why would they now? You just revealed them.
Right.
But anyway, so he reveals it in an expose, and Spider-Man catches the real one,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out he was just talking to a madman. Um, Sword Clash 117 thinks that also Eddie didn't do his job in finding out, like he didn't research him good enough.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that.
Okay.
That's pure conjecture. It's never
Okay.
mentioned in the comic.
Okay.
So I mean, yes, possibly, but we don't know.
It could it be inferred? Yes, but is it?
But it also could
explicitly
be he
saying
just
that?
got it wrong. People get shit wrong, you know.
Right. Right.
We do know he believed that was the killer.
Right.
So Eddie loses his job. He blames Spider-Man because Spider-Man catches the real one.
Right.
He starts writing tabloids. His wife leaves him.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's a key difference. Topher was an asshole. Topher Grace.
Right.
He took pictures. Took Peter's picture of Spider-Man and then altered it and said, "Now I get the job and I'm so cool and all this." Whereas, and then he went after he got called out. So it's a classic villain. This is what I was saying. That version is, I'm a bad guy. I did a bad thing. I got called on it. Now I'm gonna get revenge.
Right.
Whereas Eddie is, I'm a broken person. Then he goes to the fucking church,
and as you know, Spider-Man is trying to get the thing off and the bells and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But here's another key difference. Topher Grace is going, please God, please kill Peter Parker.
Right.
And then he gets turned into Venom.
Right.
Why was Venom there, or Eddie Brock there? I want to kill myself.
Right.
And then the black goo came on him.
Right.
So Venom's whole thing is he's a victim of Spider-Man. He's a victim of circumstance, and then he blames Spider-Man.
Right.
Because Spider-Man didn't obviously mean he was doing the right thing, getting rid of the suit.
Right.
He was doing the right thing, catching a bad guy.
Right.
But these unintended consequences caused Eddie Brock everything.
Yes.
And he's this lonely, sad, broken story.
Right.
Whereas none of that I saw in the Topher Grace thing. Now, Sword Clash definitely disagrees with me on that, but where do you land?
So, now that he pointed it out, I can see how it could be Topher Grace would be the antithesis to my goodness, who's the actor? Help me.
Peter Parker.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey
Maguire. So I can see that because it's supposed to be like the flip side of the coin, right? He is right where it's all the power without the responsibility. He's driven, but you know your point is
that version of Venom. Yeah, I just don't know if that's necessarily true of classic Venom.
No. So for the sake of the movie, I mean, it speaks for itself. I can see it from a different lens now, but I don't think that quite changes my opinion on the movie. It was still
So I'm not changing your opinion. It's just a question of how we're only talking about the one thing. Not
no. But what I'm saying is I had never thought of that before from the other dude's point of view. So I can see thinking back on the movie where, okay, well, even though I didn't like that portrayal of Venom, clearly Sam Raimi did it in a way where it's supposed to reflect the opposite end of Peter Parker. I just don't like that. It was, as you said, it wasn't tragic. It was, I'm just angry and I'm a dick. And now I have powers. I'm angry. I'm a dick. I'm just a dick.
Well, the other point that this got brought up a lot is, so a big part of Venom's character is his father, or Eddie Brock. So
Cat.
go over here. So Eddie Brock is a dad. Basically, so his mom died in childbirth. Over here. I'm trying to get him treats, so shut up. Eddie Brock died in childbirth, or Eddie Brock's mom died in childbirth to him, and so his dad blamed him his whole life, and his dad basically abused him and rejected him his entire life until he started writing this article and he started getting fame, and his dad started to respect him. So he was seeking his dad's respect. Now, Sword Clash 117, he was saying they did the same thing in the Raimi film. They just replaced that with Gwen. But to me, that's those are two different things.
Those are two ways.
Yes, he was trying to impress Gwen, just like he was trying to impress his father. But there's a world of difference between a lifetime of abuse from a
versus
parent.
just a crush on a coworker.
Yeah, and I mean, and I was saying maybe if they made that story longer, like had like did some scenes of like, oh, they were friends as children, and she was never interested in him,
Right.
and only now once he got that job was she interested in
Right.
him. You know, make it more like it needed to have
Depth.
more
It
weight to it.
needed depth.
Yeah,
Right. A
but
little bit more nuance.
I mean, overall though, I rewatched that film recently. I mean, jumping from the we're talking about the quality of it. In rewatching it, I enjoyed it more.
Okay.
Um, I still hate the bit with where he's like, you know, yeah. Although to be fair, I do kind of think that would be that version of Peter Parker going dark, like, oh, I'll just wear black clothes and hang out in jazz clubs.
Yeah, like
You
that's the new
know?
thing going bad is.
Yeah, yeah. Or I mean, maybe the symbiote had to like start somewhere, and it's like, well, we'll start with this, you know.
Right. Okay.
Fun fact, for those of you guys who don't know, this is a deep cut comic thing. Um, so we all know where the symbiote came from in the comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Secret Wars. There was a machine that made them outfits. Peter Parker went to the wrong machine. There's a black goop in it, and then he thought that was one of their outfits, and he's like, "Well, it's different color, but I'm, you know."
Right.
But anyway, moments before that happened, technically it's a retcon because this came out years
Didn't
later.
it attach to Deadpool?
It attached to Deadpool, and then Deadpool went, "Oh no, this thing's alive," and it bonded with me.
Right.
And then he takes it off him and he puts it back in the machine, and he's like, "I really hope the fact that I'm insane didn't break that thing, and that's why the symbiote's insane."
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
But anyway, let us know what you guys think about this. I am genuinely interested. How I mean, I guess it gets down to like how common accurate it is, but I also question it because it's when. Because he kept pointing out a lot of my stuff that I was pointing out came from the Lethal Protector and stuff runs.
Right.
But like that's my Venom, you know?
Yeah.
Like also they're very different in looks, like you said. That one of them is scrawny and
Right.
Venom's like ripped and he's got like
he's
yeah,
just,
well not even Venom, but I mean Eddie Brock is.
yeah.
They later explain that the reason he was so jacked is because he had cancer, and so he was trying to live an ultra healthy lifestyle.
Oh. Add another
And then of course,
veneer of tragedy to the character.
yeah, but like he's kind of always been that. Like I mean, the most recent Brock comic I read was where he defeated the symbiote god Null.
No.
He's got a son now, and like that is that power creep thing though. Like you're like, oh, now he's a god or whatever, and you're like, remember when he was just Spider-Man, but like, yeah, you know, like I'm gonna eat your brain,
Right?
You know, like
such a simple time.
It's the same thing happened with Carnage. Now you have Dark Carnage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think Carnage was at his best when, again, it's like, oh, hey, there's Spider-Man. And then he gets closer to you and you're like, oh, God, that's not Spider-Man at all. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's a crazy tentacle bladed monster, you know?
Right. God, I would not want to cross paths with that guy. Oh.
Yeah, no, yeah. But now he's this Dark Carnage and he's like stronger than Hulk and like, he looks very like he's drawn by Todd McFarlane, and like you're just like it's too much. I know I posted this on Twitter ages ago. Like I'm tired of these edgelord characters, and like half of our viewers were like disagreed with me. So it's like I guess you guys like edgelords.
I mean, you have to keep punching up, right? They have to keep besting something to where they themselves are gods. It's like D&D.
We forgot to mention, when we did, this week we did Behold Nerds. Our pick was White Owl issue number 2. Next week we're returning to movies. We're going with this has been delayed, but we will be reviewing Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I mean, we can just talk about it now. We got 7 minutes. We can.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I watched it when I was a child. I would not be skilled enough to talk about it.
Okay.
No, I'll watch it next week and we will discuss it.
Oh, next week is Christmas Eve. Are we
going okay, do you want to take a week off?
Yeah, let's take a look at the calendar here. Because we got Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve is the following Sunday. We can do New Year's Eve.
I got nothing going on, so I don't give a shit. Yeah.
So let's take Christmas Eve off because I think I might be doing stuff. So we'll do New Year's Eve then. Yeah, we can do
All
New
right,
Year's Eve.
so we won't be here next week, but we'll be here the following week. Glad we worked that out. And then also I guess this isn't a super good rant, but this also happened on Twitter. Um, Someone proposed that piracy isn't theft because they're creating a copy of something. I said you're still taking something that doesn't belong to you because they're selling those copies, so then
Right.
it's still theft.
Right.
But at Aramo6282, also known as Vinny the Third,
Mm,
he believes. Well, I think we were arguing different points in the end because he was saying, I said the question is it theft or not? I
mm,
think it is. But he was arguing the morality of it. I guess
mm,
he lives in a third world country
mm.
and he can't afford full price video games, so
Okay.
he's just going to pirate them.
Okay.
And I'm like, and he's like, but that's because of where I live. It's circumstance.
Right.
And I'm like, well, okay, but I think that's a completely different debate. Because I mean, I think if you're doing it, I think a better argument would be like, I'm stealing a loaf of bread to feed my family. But
Right.
the question is it theft or not? I
Right.
say yes. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think theft is one of those things that's easy for people to justify because
Yeah.
again, stealing the loaf of bread to feed the family, it's still theft. It's not exactly a black and white crime. Can it be a bad thing?
It's
Yes.
one of the coolest crimes out there,
Right.
according to Bender of that episode.
Right. So I don't know. That's there's I feel like there's a lot of nuance there that we can sit over it.
Okay, but is piracy theft?
Oh yeah.
Or no, because it's a copy.
Okay.
of
Well,
it?
well. Here's the thing. So, what makes it piracy? Duplicating the device or the thing, or then taking it and selling it and making a profit off of it? Because I think if somebody just takes it and copies it, it's still theft. But if they just use it from themselves, then I think it's like benign. It doesn't hurt the studio really. It's just a benign thing. However, if that person were to then
They
turn
lost
around
your
and
money. I mean,
yeah,
you
but
didn't.
If that person were to then turn around and try to sell it, then yes, I can see the immorality of it. However, I don't know. There's a lot of nuance in that. I
All right.
I I say you got to do what you got to do to survive and thrive, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
agree, but I mean, like I said, I try not to do. Those are called red herrings, essentially.
Yeah.
And people always get like. I recently got into a conversation with someone. I don't know something about. Let's see if I can find it. It was some topic, but they always think that because you're weighing in on a specific topic,
Hmm.
then that means. We're talking about Miles Morales. I think we talked about this last week.
Mm.
And I was saying, and it was the question was we're talking about Miles Morales' other characters.
Mm.
You can watch last week's episode. We talked about it, but they were saying I'm baseless because I'm not a huge fan of Miles Morales. I'm not a fan.
Right.
I just he's not one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
they were saying and they said, oh, you must really like Miles Morales to be discussing this. And I said, no, I'm just weighing in on why he's being portrayed as other characters.
Mm.
And they were like, oh, you're baseless then because you're not a fan. And that's the thing I find a lot when you're debating stuff with people. They assume that you're defending the franchise as a whole.
Mm.
And I try not to do that. I try and drill down to like in the example we were just talking about. Is this piracy or not?
Mm.
The morality of piracy is a whole different conversation.
Right.
That's kind of a red herring. You know what I mean? And I think people do that a lot when you discuss stuff like we were talking before about Sabine and the lightsaber. Would that kill her when she got impaled?
Right.
You can like the show or hate the show, but discussing how a lightsaber works is a completely different conversation.
Right. Lightsabers don't feel fatal anymore. But
See, I think they've always worked the same. I think had she just done this, literally that,
Yeah.
then it would have been fatal. But instead, she went, and then the thing went right back down the exact same entry hole.
Mm.
And then, like, we know it cauterizes.
Right.
So, yes, she has a hole through her, but she's not going to be bleeding out of it. And then the question is, was it hitting anything that would kill her instantly?
Right.
And it didn't.
And
And that's where I just weighed in on
space
that.
anatomy. I don't know.
Well, no, it was off to the side, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Then of course later in that you didn't see it, but in the final fight, she gets the lightsaber and the green flame blade, the magic thing,
Mm.
and then Ahsoka slices the other girl, and they're not super deep, but she goes, and then she falls forward,
Mm.
and then, but then it cuts. And my point, and then people were like, "Ah, ha, ha, Frosty, how come that killed her?" And I was like, "We don't know if it did. It cut. She could have just turned. She could have fallen forward and then poked her in the head with the lightsaber." You know, like they didn't show that. You know, like the other thing that may have happened is we also don't know what the green flame blade does. You know, all we know is it can go up against the lightsaber,
Okay.
and it's got green flames. But yeah, awesome fight. You should at least, even if you don't watch the rest of Ahsoka, just Google that fight.
Okay. Oh,
you sound so defeated.
I just don't care. Star Wars, God. Remember when Qui-Gon was stabbed and that it killed Qui-Gon? It was like, oh my God, 'cause it's a lightsaber. It's this threatening weapon that can. And then
went through his spine though.
Did it?
See, I don't know why you hate these things.
Because it's just. I don't know.
I love discussing like the finer, like let's look at this scene and analyze it, and like, you know what I mean. And then like, because my mind changes. Like we were talking Last Jedi, the famous scene where they're all fighting all the guys. Everybody shits on that because like you can see like the stuntmen like having to wait for the
wait
for the actors and stuff like that. And they have to, and like some of them were like spinning off like they should have been hit and they weren't.
Right.
And I mean, I agree with all of that if you look at it from that light. But then I think we discussed it before. I pointed out those are the actual actors. Like they didn't use any cuts. Like there was one cut where she falls and you see the stunt double. Other than that, it was all, what's her name? I forget.
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
Gary Chong says, "Sup guys? What's up? Sup? You're turning in late because we are going to actually end soon. Yeah, we should probably wrap at 12:30. So later on, we are going to a Harry Potter themed gala at the Elixir Bar. I'm a proud Slytherin. I think the missus is a Hufflepuff.
I'm probably the Ravenclaw.
You're a Ravenclaw. You and Dan are Ravenclaws. Adrian,
let us know in the comments what you are.
Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Chat with us online. We like to end the show with a nerdy quote. But just again, reminder, guys, we're not going to be live next week. Christmas Eve. Have a good holiday. All that stuff.
Yeah, let's actually I'll do a couple of shout outs to supporters of the channel, for wishing everybody who tunes in a Merry Christmas. Gary Chong, Merry Christmas, or Happy Holiday, whatever, I don't care.
I'm offended.
Happy Winter Solstice.
You are declaring war,
so,
Frosty. You're declaring war on Christmas.
That was my plan. I was like, fuck Christmas. But
war! Anyways.
I want to give shout outs to @RealSuperKillers. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel. Same with Beetleburg, Inkboard Studios, Neko Meowster, Impact Comics, and of course Rob0797. Thank you for giving us an early peek at your comic. That was really awesome.
Yes.
Check out his comic and support him on Kickstarter.
And and to Richard from Smoking with Frogs, if you haven't tuned in on Facebook, he tunes in, says hi every once in a while. He looks forward to coming back on the show. We'd love to have him again. We should, you know what, in the 2-week stretch, damn it, Frosty, let's do our pitches. Let's get back to being the pitch nerds. Okay. Let's do our board game pitches. So,
all right. So yeah, you'll be hearing our pitches in 2 weeks. I thought we were doing it next week, but yeah. So we have 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Cap's going to be doing a movie pitch for Snakes and Ladders.
Shoots and Ladders.
I'll let you pick either or. They're the same game. And then I will be doing Catan, which is hilarious because I play it every Sunday. We will be back.
Yes. We do like to end the show with a nerdy quote. Mr. Frosty, lead us away.
Can you do the like Terminator thing for me? 3 billion human lives ended on August 29th, 1997. The survivors of the nuclear fire called the war. Judge. They lived only to face a new nightmare, the war against the machine. The computer which controlled the machine, Skynet, sent 2 Terminators back through time. Their mission: to destroy the leader of the human resistance, John Connor, my son. The first Terminator was programmed to strike at me in the year of 1984, before John was born. It failed. The second was set to strike at John himself when he was still a child. As before, the Resistance was able to send a lone warrior, a protector for John. It was just a question of which one of them would reach him first.
Good night, everybody.